Welcome to our Pacsafe V26 Anti-Theft Tour Backpack. In this review, we're gonna tear this bag apart. We're gonna give it a little cut test with my very masculine large knife. Skin a rhinoceros with that. We're gonna talk about the overall pros and the cons with the ultimate goal of seeing if this is the pack for you. But if it's not, you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of this video where I'll make a couple alternative suggestions that might better suit your needs. Let's talk about the gist of the Pacsafe V26 Anti-Theft Tour Backpack. Pacsafe is a really cool brand because I like brands that know who they are. And Pacsafe knows who the heck they are. And basically, they're a carry brand, bags and slings and luggage. It's all built around one thing, being safe. And some of this bag's top features to keep it safe are a locking zipper mechanism on the main compartment, a dock lock zipper locking mechanism in the top compartment, a detachable buckle that allows you to secure your bag. I'll show you how that works in a little bit. It's a little bit harder than it looks. An RFID safe pocket and slash-proof materials that we're gonna test out with my super manly knife in just a minute. The bag currently comes in 2 color options. At 26 liters, it's a great size for everyday carry if you carry a bit more gear, or it's a great travel backpack, which the name sort of indicates. It's an anti-theft tour backpack if you like touring, traveling. In countries that might be a little bit, rougher around the edges, Pacsafe's got your back, or do they? We'll find out with the knife test in a minute. We've got a height of around 18 inches, a back panel width of around 12 inches, and a base depth of around 5 inches. With all those safety features, I'm sure the weight's gonna be a little heavier than your typical 26-liter backpack. Not too bad, actually. We got 2.3 pounds on scale number 1 and verified on scale number 2. This is the bag when it's empty, and this is the bag when it's fully packed out and worn on the Nomads Nation team. I'm 5'8", and our media manager, Margaret, is 5'2". We're gonna pack out this bag throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. All Pacsafe bags come protected with a 5-year warranty against manufacturing defects. And for all that, this bag runs around $200 US. And if at any point in this review you find yourself thinking to yourself, I need a vault, and that's the vaults-like backpack of my dreams, and you're gonna make a purchase, we do recommend that you do so using the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps support the Nomads Nation YouTube channel and team so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk about the front of the Pacsafe V26 Anti-Theft Tour Backpack. Now, with the front of the bag, we always start by talking about the aesthetic, and I think this is a great killer aesthetic for what Pacsafe is trying to do because it just blends in. This is not a bag that looks futuristic or vaulty in its own way. It's just a traditional silhouette. It's gonna go under the radar, which again kind of builds upon Pacsafe's entire identity, which is just, giving you the safest backpack they possibly can. Now, for the primary material, this is a 750D recycled polyester. Polyester makes a great fabric for backpacks because it's pretty weather resistant in its own right and pretty abrasion resistant as well. Not quite as much as nylon, but the real selling point of this polyester is gonna be what's underneath it, which Pacsafe calls its exomesh slash guard, which in essence, this fabric behind it has a built-in steel wire mesh, which should make the bag significantly more cut resistant than traditional backpacks. We're gonna test the actual slash proofness of this fabric. And here's the deal, I've reviewed, we're almost on 500 bags at this point. And I gotta say, the fabric doesn't feel like there's steel wire in there. Kind of get in there a little bit. Okay, I feel it now for sure. Okay, like I got like this much steel wire. It's like just sort of throughout the bag. You ready, little guy? All right, we're going in. So I guess we don't wanna ruin the bag. It's nice. All right, we're gonna cut from the bottom. Okay, cool. So as you can see right here, the fabric itself is not lined with the wired mesh, but it is in fact behind the fabric. So you see that right there? Now you can go ahead and cut through that fabric as well, but you're not gonna cut through this part. So in essence, I think that the marketing is pretty correct as to where it's cut resistant, but it's not cut proof, right? Because as you can see, the knife was easily able to slice that open like a hot knife through butter. But getting through that extra layer, that's where the knife is definitely gonna get stopped. I will say, one thing about being in situations like this is if somebody has a knife and they're willing to take that knife out in a public place and try and slash open your bag in a crowded environment, then they're probably capable of just, give me your f***ing bag. Like, I'm just saying, keep in mind, this is not gonna be, a dedicated thief is probably gonna be dedicated to do whatever it takes to take your stuff. So there's only so far a bag like this can go. So we can't fault it for being like, oh, well, it's not an impenetrable fortress. Overall though, it's these little things that do help you give you peace of mind. And I've been using this bag in the smaller 16-liter version for the past few days, and there is something just to be said about just knowing mentally that things are extra safe on this bag. That just kind of it gave me a little bit more relaxation. I live in Hong Kong too, where theft is not a problem at all. But I can see why for some people, if you live in an area that's a little bit more prone to theft, this can go a long way. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Now that we cut this open, just Thoughts on safety features in bags in general? Underrated? Overrated? Should this be made out of steel so it's uncuttable? Or do you accept there's gonna be some limitations? I wanna hear your thoughts on theft-proof features on backpacks in the comments below. Sorry, backpack, I feel terrible. We appreciate your sacrifice. All right, let's talk about the two front pockets. We've got this one right here, tiny guy, extends down to this part of the bag, and then a larger front pocket that's got a bit more organization and goes to the bottom. Got a bunch of stuff that I might want quicker access to in my day-to-day or when I'm traveling to a new city. Keys on the key leash. Not the greatest spot in terms of accessibility, but they can tuck away right there, easy peasy. I'm gonna go ahead and put my AirPods and gum in this pocket. I'll put a chunky power adapter as well to show you that this pocket actually has some capacity to it. So it's not just thinner items, you can put some bulkier items in there as well. And then in the next pocket, we have this RFID safe wallet sleeve. Now here's the thing with RFID. I'm not an expert, but I read a lot of comments about this, and a lot of bags and wallets that I've reviewed have RFID safe technology. And the thing is that RFID blocking technology does work, but oftentimes a lot of people in my backpack industry, and I've talked to developers and factories like in Vietnam where these things are made, they think this is all bullshit. And the reason being that while there might be an RFID cutout right here, at the end of the day, look at this opening, right? I mean, there's nothing stopping the RFID waves from sort of exiting from the northernmost point of the pocket. And you've got stitching seams and just a lot of ways as to where the RFID could potentially be compromised. But if you're an RFID expert, like I said, I am not. Let me know your thoughts on RFID protection and everything in the comments below so you can help somebody who might be looking to grab a bag like this and are very concerned about RFID protection. But in theory, that should be good to protect your passport and or wallet. We're gonna throw my tissues in here, pen in the pen sleeve. We've got a zippered mesh pocket on the back side. This one runs down to about here, so good spot for my Zin. And then in this pocket, you could fit a book. If you want maybe a light rain jacket, this one's from Nomadic. I don't know if they'll both fit, but the jacket by itself can definitely get in there. Now the smaller pocket, this guy is protected by this little housing dock right there, which at the end of the day is, again, not gonna completely stop a thief, but it just makes it harder to get in and out of. That's one thing you gotta keep in mind about a bag like this, is that if it's difficult for the thieves, not pointing to you, Margaret, the bad guys out there to get into, then it's also gonna be difficult for you to get into, right? So this zipper right here, when it's housed, it's safe, but like getting in and out, like it's just annoying, it gets really stuck. And that's the thing with a vault. A good vault is not easy for anyone to get into, including the person who owns the vault. Okay, that's about it for the front. Let's now talk about the middle of the Pacsafe V26 Anti-Theft Tour Backpack. Now, for the two zippers for the other compartment, I'm gonna talk about them in just a second because they correlate to the main compartment and that actual central locking system. First, let's talk about the water bottle holders. Or should we say side pockets? Because people always riff on me for that. Like, dude, it's not just for water bottles. And you're totally right. We've got two of these bad boys, and this one has a turtle on it, and I have no idea why. It says that these are recycled fabrics used in the backpack, so maybe it's like recycling for the turtles. We're gonna test out the water bottle holder capacity in just a minute when the bag is fully packed out. Right here we have an external lash point, good for clipping things onto, one on either side. And now we're getting into the main compartment. Now, some of y'all out there for your travel bags, you like a clamshell style bag. This is not clamshell though, and the reason is it's that traditional silhouette. We got the two water bottle holders, or side pockets, that are compromising the opening. And it's not even like 3/4, right? So this is that old school backpack JanSport type opening. And inside this compartment, we just have a zippered mesh pocket here and a tech sleeve. This is a cutout of a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Let's see if it fits. One thing to note too is this bag does not have its own tech compartment, right? So it's in the main compartment, which is good for cutting down weight, but really bad for laptop access. Now you can see I've got the 16-inch MacBook Pro in here, like just barely. It's actually kind of pushing out on the edges ever so slightly, so you can make it work with a 16-inch, but maybe 15-inch and under is the way to go. But you can see too, with this design, with this panel here, it's really compromising access, right? So get your laptop out, you gotta kind of fold over to grab it. Yet again, maybe that's what you want. Maybe in case somebody's sticking their hands in your bag, you want it harder for them to grab your laptop. This is probably all intentional in Pacsafe's concept in their design briefs. And that's why I said, even though it's not for me, a vault-like backpack like this, I find it very, very annoying, to be honest, at times. But I like that every design choice they're doing is to ensure the bag is as safe as possible. But I will say, for a safe bag, this is not really great laptop protection. This sleeve does have a nice microfiber material. I wouldn't say nice, actually. It's like kind of middle of the road. And it doesn't really have much of a false bottom. So it's safe from thieves, but it's not safe from you dropping it. So do be careful with this bag. Definitely not the best tech protection bag. I've ever reviewed. I'm also gonna say that at 26 liters, this thing feels pretty small. I'd say this feels more like a 22 liter, to be honest. I'm throwing my meds in this mesh pocket here. I think that if you probably take all these compartments individually, this bag might give you 26 liters of space. But Mark, I mean, what does this feel like to you? I was gonna say the same thing. So for all you bag nerds out there where I review a lot of bags, this feels closer to 20, 22 max than it does 26 liters. So keep that in mind as well. You can see right here in the main compartment, you know, just in terms of like how much space there is for a book. It's getting tight in there. Umbrella, tripod, throw a tech pouch on top. And then with these water bottle holders, sorry, side pockets, I got a 24-ounce Columbia water bottle here. Fits in very nicely. We've got a little elastic material right here hidden behind the polyester, which has a bit of elasticity so it can sort of expand with your water bottle. Will it expand enough to fit the 1 liter Yeti? Yeah, definitely will. So if you are the type of person who travels with 2 water bottles, or you want an umbrella on one side and a water bottle on the other, this bag's got you covered. Now finally, let's talk about the locking mechanism. And this is where the bag starts to feel a bit tedious and cumbersome. Now, the first reason why it feels this way is because over the main compartment zipper, we have this flap. This flap helps to protect the main compartment against rain and probably also theft, right? I mean, it's just another obstacle for a thief to get into. But again, if it's an obstacle for a thief to get into, it's an obstacle for you to get into. So these zippers are kind of annoying to grab sometimes, and they get caught on this fabric. And this fabric is actually sort of almost blocking this, and locking these zippers into place are annoying. So what you have to do is actually, the zippers connect like so. They sort of kiss and become one zipper together. But here's the deal, they don't lock like this. That's just, as you can see, they're sort of coming undone. I was really hoping that they could lock like this and stay like this. So if you didn't want to do the whole locking system here, that this would just be sufficient enough, but it comes undone like that very easily. So what you do is you have to connect the main compartment zippers, connect the secondary compartment zippers, and you can see like this is tedious, right? And I've been using this bag for a few days, the smaller version, but it has the same locking system. And still, like, it's just, you know, it's a thing. And then what you do is get the zippers on in here. All right, cool, we're in, and then give me a lock. Cool, we're locked. So you can see right here up close that this little guy actually is what locks this compartment. Unlocked there, locked there. And now when you're in this mode, it's great because, like, you know, look at that. Like, that is fortified. That's some you shall not pass right there. But as you saw, locking it is tedious. Then every time you want to undo the bag, you know, so if security is that important to you, you're not gonna care. But if you're like, kind of like me, a little bit on the lazier side, that might get a little annoying over time. And the last point to discuss is this top handle. Really nice, gets the job done. This is the same material that's used on seatbelts. It's like a nylon webbing, gives you a bit of access to grab the bag. No complaints. And on either side of the handle, you do have a couple more external lash points. Now real fast, if you're watching this, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, backpacks are cool, there's so much to it. I thought it was just like some fabric and some zippers, but there's like theory behind this crap. This dude's nerding out, I'm loving it. Well, if that's the case, I just wanna let you know that you are not alone in your interests. In fact, there's kind of a revolution happening in the world of travel and everyday carry gear, which is kind of embodied by this community called the Carry Community. And here at Nomads Nation, we serve that community not only on our YouTube channel, but also on the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, I'm like your reporter on the front lines, telling you what the coolest new releases are in the world of travel and everyday carry gear. So if you wanna know about the newest drops and the craziest collabs and, you know, the next level security features that Pacsafe is doing versus these other brands, right? And you want access to our best discount codes and giveaways, you're gonna wanna sign up to the Nomads Nation newsletter, which you can do by finding this globe emoji in the description below. I hope to see you in your inbox. Let's talk about the back of the Pacsafe V26 Anti-Theft Tour Backpack. Now, as a tour backpack, you might end up pairing it with a suitcase for your tour, right? That's what this guy right here is for, the luggage pass-through holder. It's a little tight, but I think it's gonna slide on no problem, because for a 26 liter bag, you're never gonna pack it out to the point where like it doesn't fit on. Like this is actually really nice. Reinforced stitching right here. Holds the bag upright. Again, if you're heading to a country that you're just a little unsure of, you just like that little extra peace of mind, you know, this can definitely make a great travel companion. I understand the interest and use case for a bag like this. Beneath the luggage pass-through holder, we have this hidden zippered pocket, which is quite interesting because a lot of times you'll see hidden pockets here on a backpack. And I have heard from people in the past, they're like, dude, why would you put it here? That's accessible to thieves. They could pickpocket you there. And you're not totally wrong, right? Versus here, in this location, it's completely against your back, so Ain't no thief getting in there. Not when you're wearing the bag, at least. These are the dimensions. It could be a good spot for passport, boarding pass. You can even fit a phone in there. I got my iPhone 13, just in case you want to keep that secure and easily accessible. We also have another zippered pocket right here on the shoulder sleeve with a little divider and a gusset here. I don't know what you'd put in here specifically. What would you put in there, Margaret? A card? Now we're talking. So this is a great way to organize your cards, whether you have a very beat up octopus card. Margaret, this card has seen better days. I don't know if this pocket has RFID protection, but it does have a sea turtle sticker. And it should be noted, this is the one zipper on the backpack that doesn't have any locking mechanism. Now, before we talk about comfort, we're gonna do our final big ass knife test to test the shoulder strap webbing. And the reason being, this is also supposed to be cut resistant fabric, which is great because at the bottom of the shoulder strap, we have another lock. And this lock took Margaret and I at least 3.5 minutes to figure out. And we eventually needed the help of a YouTube video until we had our aha moment. It was a process. But again, if it took Margaret and I, and we're basically geniuses, right, Margaret? If it took geniuses like Margaret and I 3.5 minutes to figure out, then hopefully it'll take a thief longer. And in essence, what you do is you just crank this guy like that. See, I already forgot how to do it. I can do it. Oh, it's right, you push down, I got it. And voila. This is the sort of lock here, and then it locks into there. And I'll admit, out of all the features on this bag, this is the one that I think is the coolest, or at least most useful to my life. Reason being, I'll often go to cafes when I'm in a different part of the world, right? To get some work done, and you know, I gotta pee or something, right? And it's like, do I really wanna pack up all my crap and take it with me into the bathroom? Or, in theory, you can just take this, wrap it around the table, which is hopefully bolted into the ground, snap it into place, lock it, and then it's not gonna be movable, but will it be slashable? Every time I do that, I feel so cool. All right, so we're gonna do a little slash test here. You know, I'll be honest, I could probably go harder on this. I like this backpack though, I don't want to destroy it. But you know, this is a sharp knife. This knife has been recently sharpened, and whether it's just the fabric of the nylon or the additional slash resistance on top of it, at the end of the day, there is Dyneema under these straps, which is basically stronger than steel. So there's like wired Dyneema in here, which means you can be hacking away with this thing, but the knife will not make it through the Dyneema. I mean, you know, something would. If you have a lightsaber, there's not gonna be much you can do about that. Just Now finally, we're gonna talk about the comfort, because in all of this, getting carried away with safety features, you know, it's still a backpack, right? If this is your tour backpack, you're gonna be in, I don't know, Rome, let's say hypothetically, like you're still gonna be carrying it all day, you want it to be comfortable, and I gotta admit, the bag is comfy. Like I said, I've been wearing the 16 liter around for the past few days. We got an old school yoke system at the top of the shoulder straps, which helps provide a bit more comfort. Beefy shoulder straps too, like quite beefy. Like we're talking almost 3 inches. So, you know, I like beefier shoulder straps, more comfortable. Decent amount of padding, not the most padding. We don't have like a ton of cushion going on, a little dense, but some nice ventilation in the material. Sternum strap, pop into place. Little excess dangle going on, but we have a little dangle stopper right there. And we got some dangle stoppers on the bottom of the shoulder strap, nylon webbing as well. If you put something bulky in this pocket, you're definitely gonna feel it, so do keep that in mind. But the one thing about the comfort of this bag that I don't love are these guys right here, which are included waist belts. Now again, safety feature, right? This is not really meant, I don't think, to make the bag more comfortable, because this is the teeniest, tiniest, littlest waist belt I've ever seen in my life. And usually hip belts, you want to have a little bit of beef to them, right? So they can, again, redistribute the weight from your hips, take some pressure off your back. I think this is more about safety as well. It's just another attachment point to keep people from ripping it off of your body. Maybe it adds a little bit of comfort. But the annoying part, and why it compromises comfort, is that it's not really removable, or should I say it is, but you're not gonna be able to get it back on. You gotta weave it through this buckle. It's not like easily detachable. So you got 3 options. You let it dangle, not comfortable, also pisses this little guy off. You can connect it and then wear it, but I don't know, you don't always wanna do that. Or you can connect it and wear it behind you, but then you're feeling the buckle on your back, which is very uncomfortable. So overall, this should have been removable, in my humble opinion. You can get a 20-cent clip from Woojin, guys, or Duraflex, and just how easy to take it off and to put it back on. Let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Pacsafe V26 Anti-Theft Tour Backpack. Pro number 1, its unique and vault-like security. This is far and away the biggest reason why anybody's gonna buy this bag. Pro number 2 is the really wide shoulder straps, help to make it quite a comfortable wear. And pro number 3, not my thing, but I know for a lot of people, you want more shoulder strap pockets like this. I see it in the comments all the time. So for some of y'all out there, this is gonna be like that cherry on top, because not a lot of bags do this anymore. But on the flip side, let's talk about the cons. Con number 1, much smaller capacity than advertised, in my opinion. Con number 2, the inability to take off this hip belt. And con number 3, with great security comes great complexity. This is definitely not a simple user experience with all the security features. But if you still watch this, you might be thinking to yourself, Aaron, it doesn't matter how difficult the security features are. Safety first. Can't trust anyone out there. If that's the case, I commend you for your commitment to security and showing the thieves who's the f***ing boss. And if that's the case and you're gonna make a purchase, just a reminder that we do recommend that you do so using the first link in the description below. That's where you can get the best price. And if we have any discount codes, that's what they'll be. But if you're not quite sold, let me give you a couple of alternative suggestions that might better suit your needs. Alternative suggestion number 1 is gonna be the Pacsafe Go 34 liter. This is a carry-on backpack, and it's a great option for you if you're just like, dude, Pacsafe, this is what I need in my life, but I need a bigger one. This one's too small. That's what the 34 liter is. And we didn't review it here on Nomads Nation, but we did review it on our sister channel, Gear for the Girls. And my next recommendation is gonna be the Peak Design Travel Backpack. Great option for you if you're looking for some security features, but you don't need them quite as intense as what Pacsafe's bringing to the table. But Peak Design's got some really cool lockable zippers and other security features. They got a travel backpack in a 30 liter and a 45 liter. We did the 45 liter review, but it'll show you exactly what the 30 liter is all about and kind of get you familiar with Peak Design in general. And to learn more about either of those bags, just go ahead and watch these videos right here. If you got any questions about any bags, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.